Haribo, welcome, sweet souls. I've said that so many times, but now it's recording. So this is our final class of the Nectar of Instruction. What a beautiful journey. I think this is 13 or maybe even 13, I think. And I am talking first just to give the sort of logistics of number one, we just had to create a new Zoom link. Sorry for that. Number two, we're going to take next week off for anyone who wants to continue to study Shastra. We'll take next week off, and then we'll start on the last Tuesday of the month, which is, just so it's on record here, which is the 28th. And we're going to read the Sri Ishopanishad, which will let you, it won't take 12 weeks. That's what Shami was just saying. So we'll either read 2 books during a 12-week period, or we'll just do like a 6-7 week stint with this and then take another little break and then read another book. Really casual, low key here. And I'll send out an email for anyone who wants to continue to join again and to send some sort of donation to Shami if you feel called to. If you can't, because of financial reasons, please still take the course. And yeah, this is all free knowledge. It's just for Shami's time. So amazing. And here we go. I'm going to mute myself and we'll hear Mr. Shami Pras.
Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our 13th and final class on the Nectar of Instruction, Sri Upadeshamrita of Rupa Goswami. Exciting. We're going to go through the last 3 verses of the Upadeshamrita, and we're going to then review so we can get a sense of the whole flow of Rupa Goswami's beautiful text. And we'll start with some kirtan.
Okay. They're matching. Crooked.
It works.
Okay. Musicians audio. Okay, sweet souls, let's drop in for a little kirtan. Kinda.
There's no musician's audio option here.
Okay. Let's mute you. I do it on my computer. Take a deep breath in, fill up. Open your mouth, exhale, let it go. One more like that. Filling up, filling up, filling up, filling up through your nose. And open your mouth, exhale, clear it out. Starting with our opening prayers. Deep breath in. Right.
Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our 13th class in the Nectar of Instruction. It's really flown by, right? So we finished verse 7 and then into verse 8 last week. And so verse 8 was about using one's entire time, 24 hours a day, in hearing and chanting, and in this way remembering Krishna. And then it's leading into remembrance and residence in the Lord's abode by following the devotees of Vrindavan. So I'm going to, rather than take reflections from that verse, I'm going to go right into verses 9, 10, and 11. And they're really about that pinnacle, that goal of the followers of Lord Chaitanya to reside in Vrindavan. And it's really talking about the special qualities of the devotion of the devotees in Vrindavan and the intimacy available in association with Krishna there. And it's quite high. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on each verse, but I'm going to review them with you. And then we're going to go through the whole Nectar of Instruction from the beginning, just in summary form, and take reflections on what stood out from the whole journey, from controlling the speech all the way to, well, we'll see. So verse 9. Can you enable screen sharing?
Yes.
Just sharing the screen, 1 second. If I switch windows here, does this show? Can you guys see the verse?
No.
No? You just see me?
Yeah.
Well, if I pull that onto a different window. 1 second. How about now?
Yes.
Okay. Today's class is a giant workaround. So, verse 9. Vaikuntha janito varamatupuri tatra virasotsavad vrindaranya mudarapani ramanat tatra vigovardhanaha ratha kurnamiha gokulapate premamrita plavanat kuryat assa virajito giritarte sevang vivekinaka. Translation. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kunda stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kunda, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? So we have here spiritual geography. In the spiritual realm, everything's on the same platform because it's not the realm of duality. In the material world, some places have a higher standard of living than others. Some places are warmer than others. Some are colder. This, that. There's always pluses and minuses. It's the realm of duality. And we're not dealing with the realm of duality here. This is spiritual geography. These are all varieties within the absolute. So this verse is talking about some of the different localities, the different moods of service available in each. and how Radha Kund is the highest, actually. And in Srila Prabhupada's purport, he gives some of the history of Lord Chaitanya rediscovering Radha Kunda and having his followers, the six Goswamis, to excavate it and have it established as a place of worship because it's a very dear place of Krishna's pastimes. Actually, there's a pastime that Krishna had with Radharani there and the gopis 5,000 years ago. And it's, as such, it's a very intimate place. And the next verses talk about that.
Can you explain what Radha Kund is?
Sure, it's a pond. If you look at the old cover of the Nectar of Instruction, I think the current, yeah, maybe we can see if we can find that. One sec.
Do you have the old one?
Is this one?
Yeah. So on the back of the old Nectar of Instruction, you can see here, this is Radha Kund. It's part of a relatively small little pond. It's next to Shyamakund. It's a pond of Krishna's. It's at one end, thank you, of Govardhan Hill and Vrindavan. And these verses are talking about that.
Can you explain what Govardhan Hill is?
Govardhan Hill is a hill that Krishna lifted with his little pinky finger to protect the residents of Vrindavan from Indra sending torrential rain. There's a very sweet pastime where Krishna lifted the hill, and the residents of Vrindavan, all of them, regardless of their relationship with Krishna, cows, friends, girlfriends, parents, servants, everyone, they all spend time with Krishna simultaneously there.
And it's also a physical.
It's actually a little hill, yeah.
And there's a hill and there's a whole.
And you can walk around it in Vrindavan. Verse 10. Karmipyav parito harev priyataya vyaktin yayur jnaninas tebhyo jnana vimukta bhakti paramav premai kanishthastata tebhyas tav pashupala pankaja drishas tapyo pisaratika prishta tadvadiyang tadiyat sadasi tang nashriyat kakriti. So this verse is talking about elevation of consciousness of the soul and how we can come to higher levels of consciousness. And it's talking about ultimately the love that Radharani has for Krishna. So the translation is, in the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. So just pausing the translation, talking about how in human life you can develop in karma, being pious and doing good deeds, and that culminates in having gyan, realizing you're not the body, recognizing there's such a thing as spirit. And that can liberate one from matter. And out of many people who are possess gyan, one may be active in bhakti. And out of some people who are practicing bhakti, only a few are perfect in bhakti. So it's like a funnel, like you have so many people doing so many things at just like the level of activity, human activity, karmic activity. Only some of them are trying to develop good karma. And of those, only some are developing knowledge that they're not their body. They're actually seeing beyond the, the material kind of game of trying to be comfortable and have good karma and be situated in the world comfortably. And of those who have gyan and realize they're not their body, one is very fortunate to actually take to devotional service. It's a great blessing to practice bhakti. It's actually a higher position than being situated just in gyan yoga. And of those who are practicing bhakti at any given time, not everyone is completely possessing prema yet, right? It's the goal of bhakti. The translation goes on. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they're always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. So there's this development of consciousness in bhakti of increasing dependence, increasing love and increasing dependence on Krishna, this deepening of Krishna consciousness. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her kunda, lake, is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. who then will not reside in Radhakund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings of Prakrita Bhava, render loving service to the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakaliya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe. So again, talking about how at the level of perfection in bhakti, one actually, as per verse 8, one approaches the eternal residence of Vrindavan, and under their guidance and shelter becomes supported in developing a spiritual body, developing a spiritual identity to serve Krishna very closely. And Rupa Goswami is talking here about the very sweet, intimate devotional service that's available for the residents of Vrindavan, culminating in Radhakund. So, a little bit about this this particular bhakti that Lord Chaitanya came to give. Lord Chaitanya is offering pure devotional service to Krishna, and it's described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that one of the things that Lord Chaitanya is offering, which is very rarely offered, is the very personal, very intimate mood of devotional service that the residents of Vrindavan, especially the gopis, have for Krishna. This mood of service that's very personal, very close, and without any interruption, without any motivation, has a very, very high caliber of closeness to Krishna, and it's characterized by service and separation. I'm just kind of like summarizing some of the very deep philosophy around this. There's a lot more in the Nectar of Devotion and in many of Srila Prabhupada's purports, substantiating what makes the devotion, the bhakti of the gopis of Vrindavan very special, and how that's the ultimate kind of presentation of what Lord Chaitanya is offering. It's like not just to be liberated from matter or even to develop Krishna prema, but the capacity, if one wishes to develop Krishna prema in a very intimate mood, as the residents of Vrindavan do, like the gopis. The last verse, Krishna syuchai pranayavasati preyasi pyopiratha kundam chasya munipirabitas tadrik eva gatayi yet preshtar apyalam asulapam kim punar bhakti pajam tat premedam sakrit apisarur sarasnatur avishkaroti. Of the many objects of favor delight, and of all the lovable damsels of Vrajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And in every respect, her divine Kunda, lake, is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kund is very rarely attained, even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. And Srila Prabhupada's purport deals with this spontaneous devotional service. That's the goal of regulated devotional service, as we've been discussing a little bit, verses 7 and 8. Regulated devotional service means like choosing to chant every day, read every day, having scheduled measurements, measuring how much you do, trying to increase systematically, having a minimum, and doing the activities of devotional service because you know it's in your best interest, and there may or may not be some taste involved for it, but the full spontaneous taste is not there yet. And spontaneous love, raga bhakti, means that the development of spontaneity, spontaneous attraction is there, and no one has to ask you to do it. You don't have to ask yourself to do it. It's just you can't not do it. You're just spontaneously drawn. And again, this is characterized by the love that the gopis have for Krishna. So that's a very, very quick.
Could you even explain, maybe, I think everyone in here would probably know, but like, what is a gopi?
Yeah, the gopis are the young cowherd girls of Vrindavan. They're the paramours of Krishna in his pastimes in Vrindavan. So they have this this mood of love for Krishna, like young lovers, and they're very much glorified in the Srimad Bhagavatam, other places, for the purity of their love for Krishna. And So just like the residents of Vrindavan all have different moods. Some view Krishna as their son, some view him as their friend. The gopis are in what's called Madhurya Rasa. They view him as their lover. And there's this deep service mood the gopis have that Rupa Goswami is glorifying here, to always be thinking of Krishna and always be interested in his service and to please him. This is very much characteristic of all the pure devotees, but the gopis are especially glorified for that. In the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Vrindavan and the pastimes and devotees of Vrindavan are talked about. The 10th canto, of course, was translated in its entirety as the Krishna book by Srila Prabhupada. Really, because it's so important, he considered it so important for us to get these pastimes of Krishna with his devotees, including in Vrindavan. And so Rupa Goswami is, after having addressed, controlling the senses, the speech, anger, the mind, the tongue, belly, and genitals, and avoiding the 6 things that are unfavorable for devotional service, and cultivating the 6 things that are favorable. I could just review them really quickly. The 6 things that are unfavorable: eating more than necessary or collecting more than is required, over-endeavoring for mundane things, talking unnecessarily about mundane spiritual subject matters, and then either practicing the rules and regulations for their own sake or whimsically abandoning rules and regulations, associating with worldly-minded persons, and being greedy for mundane achievements. So we talked about controlling the senses, and then letting go of these 6 things and cultivating the 6 things that are favorable of enthusiasm, confidence, determination, acting according to the regulative principles of bhakti, such as hearing, chanting, and remembering. And then abandoning the association of non-spiritually oriented persons, giving up those influences, not taking them into one's heart, and following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, the great devotees. So in this way, there's a cultivation of consciousness. Then he talked about these 6 loving exchanges, how important they are. Prabhupada says this is why our society was founded: offering and receiving gifts, offering and receiving prasad, spiritual food, and opening one's heart and receiving one's heart, the heart of another. And then the levels of devotees, and how to interact with them, to mentally honor the devotee who chants Krishna's name, to offer bodily respect to somebody who's taken initiation, and to faithfully follow and serve the person who's become devoid of the propensity to criticize others. There's some more detail in those purports in our classes about some of the symptoms of advancement. Prabhupada says that one who is always thinking how to spread Krishna consciousness and is free from the propensity to criticize, strictly following their own guru, following their vows, that person is symptomatic of that highest level. We talked about how beginning to take, even before one takes initiation, beginning to take one's practice seriously and having goals that one meets every day is a symptom of advancement. The deepening of one's faith in the holy name and one's conviction that I want to chant this every day. And Rupa Goswami continued by talking about not identifying with the body of the pure devotee, not misidentifying them as their body and judging them accordingly to that. Just like the Ganges is pure, no matter what may enter into it, it's still a pure body of water. And then he gives this beautiful analogy that when you have jaundice, you can't taste sweetness, but the cure for jaundice is sugar candy. And so similarly, we may not taste the sweetness of Krishna right away, but if we take it as medicine, we will. We will taste it, because that will actually eradicate the disease of ignorance. And then he culminates his instructions really in verse 8 by helping us to see that the whole point of all this is come to the point where we can and want to chant and remember always about Krishna. And the last of, you could say, is instructions, but really kind of indications is the very high level of Radha Kund, and how Lord Chaitanya came to give this special mood of service the gopis have for Krishna. And that's characterized by Radharani and Radha Kund. So I wanted to, obviously we want to go over the whole nectar of instruction, but with hopefully Rupa Goswami's forgiveness, we've really focused on the first few verses, and because they're so practical, up to really verse 8. And so if you look at the way I've organized the classes, verse 1 was like 4 classes with the introduction, 3 or 4. Verse 2 and 3 were 2 or 3 verses each.
2 or 3 classes.
Yeah, classes each. Verses 4 and 5 were maybe a class each. 6, 7, and 8 were like half a class each. And now we've just kind of sped through 9, 10, and 11. So
they're a little more esoteric.
And their significance becomes more apparent as one studies the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Nectar of Devotion, and one advances in bhakti, because Nectar of Instruction is a handbook, right? So it's only 11 verses. That's why it's called the Nectar. Nectar means something that's very essential, like it's boiled down, you know. So because it's only 11 verses, you could take any one verse and really dive into it. And so the difference between verse 1 and verse 2 in terms of consciousness, or verse 7 and verse 8 up to verse 9, 10, 11, is that they're pretty significant jumps. So 9, 10, 11 are very high. They're very high. And so as such, for all of us, including myself, we're really, our practical day-to-day application of Nectar of Instruction is really with the earlier verses. So we're honoring verses 9, 10, 11, but in a mood of reverence. And we'll take now, for the rest of the class, another half an hour or so, reflections on the whole Nectar of Instruction, the whole journey for you, how it was, what it felt for Rupa Goswami to take us on this, any of the things that stood out from his verses about purifying the body and the mind, the heart, dealing with devotees with care, with love, with this, we could say discrimination, or what's the word synonym for discrimination? Yeah, discernment. Yeah, dealing with devotees with discernment, and the goal of chanting constantly, and the conclusion of Nectar of Instruction, love for Krishna and the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis. Anything, of course, especially that you were able to apply in your lives that were relevant to you, helpful. We'll take any reflections, also questions, comments. We made it.
I could say something.
You're still, I think, can't quite hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're still. It says she's unmuted, but I can't hear her.
I'm unmuted, but I don't know. You can't hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was on mine. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
Oh, good. Sorry that I was late. I didn't realize there was a new Zoom. Thank you. Thank you. So it's over now, I guess. I take it. I didn't realize we got to the end. So I guess I could say a couple things. Thank you. This was wonderful. I think that, the nectar is starting to seep in where I didn't really think it even was. Like, for example, with that class when we talked about the goal, I think, was that last week? I think that just put so much in perspective for me, because I kind of, forget. I'm so busy in, like, in the moment of life, and you kind of forget that it's not just about, what we're doing in the day in and day out, but it's for this goal of when we come to pass and all of that. But sorry, that was amazing. And then I read something the next day, maybe our stage group there was something like that maybe just really reiterated that again. It was really interesting. But also the other night I was watching this movie with my husband. It was really weird. It was called Biosphere. I don't know if anybody saw it. But it was basically about these two men at the end of the world, and they're the only two alive, and they're in this biosphere. But they were eating eggs, and for some reason, something about eggs just looked even grosser to me than usual. And I'm like okay with eggs, but I don't know. And then my husband was like, what? They're eggs. I'm like, but do we ever think about what they really are? I know a lot of us do, but he doesn't. I don't. But anyway, so the point was, he said, it really doesn't matter because ultimately we're all just dust. Nothing we do matters. It doesn't matter because the point was that he just kept saying that we're just turning to dust. I'm like, well, actually, that's not what I think. I think that we're spirit souls and we, everything that we do and we know. And it just really surprised me to have it coming out of my mouth, like so confident that it does matter what we eat and what we do and, how we live in this life, because I don't believe, like, materially we might, our bodies might become dust, but our soul is going to, do what it does. And I just really feel like I didn't feel that as strongly as I did before this class. So thank you. And I'm sorry if my eyes are wandering. I hear screaming. So I'm going to listen to your response while I go see what's going on.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. If you missed any, it sounds like you came in a little bit late. That's okay. We're going to obviously always record it. It'll be on YouTube. Yeah. So you were saying you appreciated, first of all, hearing about the goal, because it's possible, and more than possible, it's really like common to forget why we're doing what we're doing and just get lost in the details of the day to day. And that's a common reflection. So thank you for that. Yeah, Rupa Goswami makes it really clear for us about remembering Krishna, the goal of human life. I mean, it's in the Bhagavad Gita too, that, your consciousness at the time of death determines your destination. And our goal isn't to just explore every nook and cranny of the material world, although that's available to us. Our goal is to reconnect, reconnect. And then you were saying about how you were hearing some kind of like almost like nihilistic philosophy that we're all just dust anyway. Yeah, just as an aside, that's basically the conclusion one reaches when one identifies with the body, because the body, as the biblical tradition says, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The body is just composed of matter. And when one is convinced that one is the body, then that's what you have to have as a conclusion. Is like, I guess I just stop existing because the body's going to just, disintegrate. And that's not a transcendental philosophy. That doesn't deal with the self, the animating principle of the body, as long as it's within the body, the soul. Yeah, thank you for that. And I'm really happy that you've noticed like a deepening of your realization of your own spiritual nature. That's what we're here for. That's great success. Thank you.
Do you want to tell her that we're taking a week off and then continuing?
Yeah. So like we said at the beginning of the class, you might have missed, we're taking a week off next week. We finished the Nectar of Instruction.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. Thank you. And then we'll start with a new book, the Sri Ishopanishad. And we're figuring out the logistics, whether it'll just be a short, because it's a smaller book, but it'll be like 6 classes, or maybe we'll read a couple books and have it be the usual 12 weeks. But stay tuned and contact us for more information. Great. More reflections or comments, questions on the whole Nectar of Instruction?
I really loved reading it a second time and reflecting back to when I read it the first time, and what a different place I'm in and what a different understanding I have. And throughout the whole course, I would do that. I would kind of reflect back and I'd like snapshot memories of like sitting at my table, like so deep and just trying to like understand it, and so like really trying to immerse myself in it, and how much it's really phenomenal to think about your journey and to think about your growth. And then when you can dive a little deeper and learn a little deeper and hear it from you in the way that you teach it, it's been, for me, this whole course has been a really pivotal time, or pivotal catalyst, I would say, and like this phase of my life, this like transitional developmental growth phase of my life, and really taking good, honest, loving looks at myself and just understanding myself more deeply and living through bhakti a little bit more clearly. And so I just really appreciate how you broke it down for us and taught us, and all your words of wisdom. So thank you.
I'm glad. Yeah, that's a good reminder that these books are not one and done deals. They're living Shastra. We interact with them as dynamic entities. They're offering the same words on the page are offering a deepening experience because of our own deepening consciousnness. And so that's a great reminder to keep approaching these books. I mean, I first read the Nectar of Instruction in 2010. I was in Peru and I found a copy of it. I was chanting like 3 or 4 rounds a day. And I found a copy of it. And my experience reading it then was one thing. And I read it, I don't know how many times since. In fact, I know one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Hanumat Preshak Swami, is a great devotee. And for many years, he would carry a copy of the Nectar of Instruction around his neck, tied, a little container thing, ribbon.
Like a passport holder. But
Yeah, like a passport holder with
holder.
the Nectar of Instruction. He's a rather eccentric gentleman. I mean, and I say that with nothing but reverence. So he pulled it off, but he would read from it every day, and he considered that Prabhupada's choices of what verses he's quoting in the purports was very enlivening and enlightening for him. He chose to memorize those verses, and he found deeper and deeper realizations in this particular book, like every day for I don't know how many years. Eventually, he didn't do exactly that anymore, but feel free. It does not stop giving back. And also just what you're saying about, Rupa Goswami is helping us to see ourselves clearly. Like there's a lot of support in understanding how to have discernment about my consciousness, my activities, the different levels. And there's this certain kind of like humility that comes in when you do that, because it's like, okay, I got to admit I'm not perfect, and there's like different levels, and I am wherever I am. But when one has the humility to take a look at themselves that way, with the guidance, like the illuminating guidance of acharyas like Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada, you get so much support because there's practically infinite detail, between what Rupa Goswami says, what Srila Prabhupada says, those 2 verses where I drew from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then I'm quoting from like various other acharyas, like all the support we had to find fine levels of detail to really manage, like, okay, what the next step is for me now, what's the next step after that. There's actually like infinite support and discernment to see, like what practically can I do today? What can I do this month? What can I do this year to advance in bhakti in any of these numbers of ways, like my speech and my mind, how I deal with devotees and my enthusiasm, all these very practical avenues. So that's the great blessing of this kind of Shastra. It's extremely practical with a lot of guidance. So I'm glad that you received that. That's what I receive also from the Nectar of Instruction. Practical handbook.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve.
I was just thinking that like the class itself is like experiencing the teachings at the same time. So that's like, the good association, and there's so many things that are in the book.
Right.
We're actually doing it now.
Yeah. The book is saying, chant Hare Krishna. We start with Kirtan. The book is saying, loving exchanges. We're opening our heart and revealing our heart and hearing. The book is saying, get together with devotees, be enthusiastic, be regulated. Like we meet every Tuesday at the same time. And there's, enthusiasm. And yeah, definitely. We're talking about it and we're doing it at the same time. Yeah. Not a coincidence. I strongly, strongly believe that that classes get a great deal when they're interactive, and kirtan always has to be there, and regulation. These are all things that we got from Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas. They're not invented. It's a process, and it's a science.
And then whenever we're reading, whatever Shastra we're reading, to think about it like we're reading to associate.
Yeah.
With Krishna, with Prabhupada, with the previous acharyas, with Rupa Goswami in this text, right? And that all of the practices, whether it's the loving exchanges or regulative principles, like all of it is preparing us or training us to enter the spiritual realm? right? It's not meant to be like restricting in the material world, but rather preparing us for the spiritual world. And thinking about it as these practices and tools to allow for more freedom in our lives versus to keep us, locked in, which it can feel like that if that's where your mind is.
Yeah, the regulative principles of freedom.
Yeah.
Restriction as a tool to actually offer expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like how we inhale and exhale, it's contraction, it's expansion, but then there's contraction, expansion, and contraction.
And then we had a lot of that kind of reflection from a lot of people about how they feel empowered to let go of harmful association or distraction, and how they're starting to find their own strength and opportunity and agency to choose what they do with their consciousness, what they hear, who they open their heart to, what they do with their time. Because it's really common for people to say, I can't be spiritual. There's so many, I can't, in other words, I can't make more advancement than wherever I'm at now. I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go to work. I have to do these things. And it's like, yeah, but when you hear the signs of devotion from acharyas like Rupa Goswami with Srila Prabhupada commenting, everyone always finds something they can do to deepen wherever they're at now. Whether it's like letting go of that thing that I didn't realize that I've been holding on to, it's not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or just deepening more of this thing that's the positive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We heard that again and again. More reflections on the nectar of instruction, any of the verses, any of the experiences you had.
Yeah, I just want to say that this whole class really reinforces how important this is for me. Anyways, I think that everybody would agree to do this in groups, to be with people, to read together. So much of my initial practice in bhakti, the first few years, was so much in a silo, and just being part of the group and and reading everybody else's reflections, that opens up new things in my mind and makes me think about things different ways. It's so nice to see different points of view and have those points of view kind of enrich your own views and shift those. So it's just been really wonderful to be part of you all, and so thankful to have been invited and look forward to doing it again. And certainly the book itself, as Melanie said, it's not the first time I've read it, but it's definitely helped to deepen my practice and kind of shine lights on areas where I feel like I need to improve, and also made me aware of how much I've grown in some areas. So it's been really good to do this, and definitely thank you to Shamya for your advanced knowledge to really bringing this to life. So thank you so much to everybody.
You're welcome. It's been great having you. Yeah, and I echo that about the power of Sangha. Yeah, there's great value in studying in one's own as well, and then there's also just like wonderful kind of irreplaceable experience of studying and hearing with others. Like you were saying, there's so much, because there's only so much we can do on our own. We only have so much time, and then if you have like even 10 other people, there's 10 times as many lessons, 10 times as many realizations that I would have to have 10 lifetimes if I'm lucky to have those experiences, and I might not even touch all of them because I'm just limited by my own self. So it's a great benefit to hear the realizations of others and to see the Krishna conscious philosophy through the lens of their own practice and their heart, and it's very fortifying. It's very fortifying to your faith to see like it's working in other people's lives, and that there's definitely that, and it's also just it's powerful to be heard. It's powerful to be heard and to open up. It's kind of like the living example of what verse 4 is talking about with the loving exchanges. So we're all doing that. Everyone has been sharing and being heard, and that's part of the devotional culture.
And the shares were just phenomenal. I mean, the depth, the amount of detail, the practical. I really love how we added the practical application piece, and how the critical thinking and the way that everybody articulated their experience with in relation to each verse, like really was mind blowing every week. It was so thoughtful and conscientious, and such a clear example of the devotion and dedication that we have in our Sangha. It's amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt inspired reading them every week. Any more?
Amy has one.
Yes, Amy.
Sure.
You're welcome.
Just from when I first entered Bhakti back in 2020, my spiritual growth from then to now, and I just see it deepening more and more as I sit here and listen to you teach these different nectar of instruction, the Bhagavad Gita. It's just incredible. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to watch you grow.
Use your voice.
More reflections or comments or questions on the Nectar of Instruction. There's also an opportunity if you want to ask about any specific verse, get more clarity on anything.
I'd just like to
Yes.
just truly show gratitude for what you're doing. It is my second time reading it as well. I read it during our first Sage group, and it's interesting because when we were reading it then, I thought it was amazing that every verse seemed to, be relevant to something I was going through at that time. And now, 3 years later or however long it's been, so much more understanding. I've gained so much understanding, and I can, again say that every time we came to class, there was something that just hit home and really made sense in a very profound way. And I can speak more confidently about the path that I'm on. And, it's just been wonderful. And it's not only been wonderful to see, look at my own growth over the last 4 years, because I too, like Amy, started this in 2020. It's been really wonderful in association with our group, seeing each other's growth and maturity and how we all speak to each other and, have conversations with each other about this, not just in the class, but in our own private, discussions and everything, and really support each other. And that's, really thanks to you and Kishori for, offering this association and making it safe for us to do so. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. My reflection from reading the Nectar of Instruction, like one thing I'm really feeling supported around is taking a look in my life at how I'm engaging in loving exchanges and how much and how often, with devotees, and really just deliberately remembering how important that is. How Rupa Goswami goes out of his way to talk about that. Just to pick one thing that I got from this journey over the last few weeks, that I'm feeling really supported to look at that really clearly, and I have been making it a goal to deliberately open my heart and receive. And not just on Tuesdays. It's really easy on Tuesdays because that's the structure we've created here. But there are 6 other days and nights and mornings and afternoons. And so that's been like a major, because it's always been there. That's always been in the Nectar of Instruction. And I could have quoted that verse to you in Sanskrit like years ago. And I'm just feeling like a rejuvenated relationship with that particular tiny slice of the philosophy, that there's just like actually a lot I can do to develop in that. There's a lot more work to be done and a lot of opportunity. I guess I'll say, we're taking next week off, but we have one thing we can do is we can continue with the WhatsApp group. Please reflect back in the WhatsApp group one specific thing that you are working on or will or want to work on that you've gotten from the Nectar of Instruction. Nice and specific, like I just said. I'm developing and opening my heart and receiving the hearts of others with devotees, going out of my way for that, and there is a lot of really practical advice given on what to do and how to do it, and even why. And just pick one, at least. More is also good, and share it in WhatsApp, and that'll help you, because where attention goes, energy flows, and it'll help others. to hear it. So thank you. Any other reflections or comments or questions from the Nectar of Instruction?
I could say one thing.
Sure.
I think text 3 for me, just as I guess, as of April was like the year mark of my first kirtan. And I can kind of see the evolution of, getting my Bhagavad Gita in August or September and just kind of diving in and trying to unlearn and learn different approaches and different ways of thinking things. And I think text 3 of Nectar of Instruction was helpful for me to have kind of a checklist of, or the 1 through 6 to learn about. But I always go back to every time, Krishna or Prabhupada says anything about cultivation, and now we're in the midst of like gardening, and I always go back to that, and I'm just like, yes, it is a cultivation. It is something that it is okay to have patience. It is okay to remember that I don't need to know everything, and if I'm not at 16 rounds, it's okay that I'm still practicing. And I think that just thinking back a year from now, I feel like a totally different person, but I'm the same human, but my heart feels different. And I recognize the differences when I do chant more or more consistently. And I didn't know what I was missing out on until I met this Sangha. And I'm so grateful for that and all the opportunities that you and Shamian Kishori offer us, and just the people that I've met and gotten to know. It's really amazing. Just thank you.
Jai, you're welcome. Doing great. Yeah, Prabhupada uses that word cultivation many times in the purports. That's a real theme to Nectar of Instruction, that bhakti is an act of cultivation. We had the elaborate analogy of gardening. The guru deposits the seed of bhakti, and it's watered by hearing and chanting, and that develops it into, as we're seeing now, like plants developing till they're nice and strong. They can stand on their own. So prema is like that. Krishna prema, love for Krishna, develops from seed. And there's this cultivation that involves our active role of like regularly hearing and chanting, whatever that level may be, and like seeing like this is what I can do right now, and then aiming to do more, developing in that quantitatively but also qualitatively. And yeah, I'm just hearing you're really grateful for this process of cultivating. It can feel, I've talked to a lot of people who've come to Krishna consciousness, and pretty much universally, like there's, on some level, there's this desire to be spiritual, or like, get in touch with the self, but it can feel scary. It can feel lonely. It can feel really difficult when you don't have guidance and you don't have sangha, you don't have like clear instruction. And then when you have this clear instruction on this is what cultivation looks like, here are like so many different details about what to do next, and here's like the essential things. So if all the other 1,001 things you don't have to worry about, but here's some essential things you can do. It's really purifying, really clarifying, gives a lot of confidence, because it makes things really simple. It's like, oh, okay, so you're telling me the whole philosophy can be boiled down to 11 verses, or all the different angas of bhakti can be boiled down to like 5 primary, chanting Hare Krishna, associating with devotees, living in a holy place, reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Shastra, and worshiping the deity, like these essential practices, these nectar, these like non-replaceable essential core things. It's like, oh, that really makes my job a lot easier. How's my chanting going? How's my associating going? It's like, that's really empowering. That puts the power back in our hands. It takes us away from fear and powerlessness and the illusion that we can't do anything, or feeling lost, or disappointed or confused or scared. It's like, yeah, that's what these acharyas are doing for us. They're making it actually super practical and lowering the bar, and also helping us not freak out so we can stay with it. Yeah.
Right, and material energy, Maya, she's so strong and so powerful. My friend Jiva will say, like, Maya's out doing push-ups outside the door right now, waiting for you to hang up the Zoom call, you know, and just like, okay, ready, I'm coming, I'm gonna get you. And so, you know, the number of conversations I've had with people that it's like you're feeling so connected, like when you're able to be in Sangha and in community, and then when life gets more full or you're not able to be there, it feels harder to practice, right? Because you're not around other people that are also in this spiritual energy. And so we'll go through these sort of waves in our practice and our lives. And many of you have children and sporting events and, you know, all the work job, you know, all these things. You can't be at everything and you can't do everything. That's why we're trying to offer so many things so that you can come to something, right? And so it can be discouraging and feel like you can't come to everything, and it can be a reminder of like, oh, that is why Sangha is so important, and so I'm going to prioritize it however I can,
right?
And that does not mean everything, right? It's like the best that you can. And if you are at a place in your life where you can come to everything, awesome, and do that, right? But that's not the reality for everyone. And so I think it's always that it's a beautiful reminder of how these teachings are true, right? When you're not exposed, when you're more in the material energy, it's going to be harder to practice your spiritual life. And so to armor yourself up by having your spiritual practice to support you when we're out there, you know, on the battlefield.
Yeah. Having that time every week, and then that time every day, ideally, if you can in the morning, it's great, to give yourself that spiritual armor. Okay. Aaron and Corey had to log off, but they're grateful. We'll see you on WhatsApp. Hare Krishna. Any other reflections, comments, questions on the Nectar of Instruction? Any particular thing you'd like to highlight from the verses, things that stood out that you thought were great or confusing, or you'd like to work on? I can, in case you don't have it, I can send the link into chat for the whole Nectar of Instruction. You can look at it, see if there's anything there that stands out. It's in chat.
What's in the chat?
Just the verses for the Nectar of Instruction. Let's get one more reflection. Steve.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit. The next one, what's it called again?
The next book?
Yeah.
Ishopanishad. The
How do you
Shri.
spell that?
Ishopanishad is ISOPAN ISAD.
ISAD.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Shri in front of it.
Shri.
SHRI or SRI.
It's also on the database.
We'll send a link to it to where you can get it, or you can on database. You can read it online. Yeah. Shri Ishopanishad.
Also a smaller book, one of the Upanishads.
Yeah.
One more reflection. It's okay if you've already reflected once, you can reflect again. Or question. Comment.
Do not fear, do not worry, do not hesitate. Prabhupada said that in a purport. I just opened my page to see what came through, but he said that in a purport. Might not even been from this book, might have been from the Bhagavad Gita.
Pretty sure it's from the purport to 1866.
After chapter, but I opened that, it's like, well, yeah, right, that right there. Do not fear.
Well, that's relevant though,
worry,
because
do not hesitate.
that's confidence, endeavoring with confidence. Jiva Goswami comments in that verse, that's 1866 Bhagavad Gita. Give up all religion and just surrender unto me. I'll take care of everything. I'll purify you, save you from all sinful reactions. Don't worry, don't fear, don't hesitate. Prabhupada says that in the purport, do not worry, do not fear, do not hesitate. That's confidence. Jiva Goswami says this verse is the promise that Krishna gives that the devotees hold on to, right? No matter what they're going through, is that he's promised that he's going to keep his promise no matter what. If I just stay with him, if I just try to have confidence that he'll take care of me, he will come through. It's this magnetic north, like true north, like no matter what, he'll take care of me. And obviously at the highest levels, there's never any doubt. There's never any break. And we're all kind of like working and developing that confidence. So that's why Krishna gives it as an instruction to Arjuna. Arjuna is freaking out, the whole Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is like him developing confidence through hearing from Krishna. But that's one of the essential things that Rupa Goswami gives in verse 3 that supports us in spiritual life is confidence, right? Endeavoring with determination. So we talked a little bit about that in that course of that verse, that there is this way in which when we see how Krishna has come through for us, and we get a sense of his reliability, we become confident. Or not that we're so confident in ourselves necessarily, like I can do it, like I'm a hero here. It's like, not exactly. It's like, I'm confident that Krishna will take care of me. So I don't have to be, it's okay for me to be afraid about, how bewildering Maya is, because Krishna is more powerful. It's all right that I'm weak because Krishna can make up for it. I may have made mistakes, but Krishna is very merciful. Like I have confidence in these qualities of his. So it's not about me lifting myself up through my own power. It's confidence in Krishna. And also confidence in how perfect and powerful bhakti is, that it can help me with these shortcomings I may have and do have. Yeah. Nischaya, that's the Sanskrit word, confidence. Yeah, so we can see how these principles are actually there in other books. Rupa Goswami has distilled them to give us this nectar of instruction.
Can you, Shamya, can you say one more thing about Radhakund?
One more thing about Radhakund?
Not one more thing. One more thing in general about Radhakund. You were saying, what was the lead into that? I feel like I missed.
Yeah, because
I heard Mathura and then I heard Radhakund, and I feel like I missed it in between.
Sure. In verse 9, it says that Vaikuntha, the spiritual planets, the spiritual world, is higher than the material world, but higher than Vaikuntha planets is Mathura, because the Lord appeared there. And higher than Mathura is Vrindavan, because of Krishna's pastimes there. And within Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, and this is higher than the Vrindavan forests because, again, more intimacy of the relationships between Krishna and his devotees. And above all of them is Sri Radhakund, because it's the embodiment of Radharani's love for Krishna, the love of Radha and the gopis for Krishna, this mood of intense, undeviating service, even in separation. And Krishna left Vrindavan, apparently. He left them like yearning for him. Well, on the spiritual platform, the service that the residents of Vrindavan have for Krishna in separation it's as good as being with Krishna, because he's absolute. Missing him is the same as being with him. In fact, when you think of somebody when you're missing them, you think of them more than when they're with you. This happens spiritually with the residents of Vrindavan, especially the gopis, could not stop thinking about Krishna after he left to go to Mathura and Dvarka. 35 chapters into the 10th canto, 35 chapters into the Krishna book. And their love for him reached fever pitch. So this separation became the stage for them to display the super excellence of their love for Krishna. So that's one thing I can say. Yeah, that was in relationship to verse 9.
Okay, thank you. And it's very holy and beautiful. I mean, I was there with so much less knowledge, and I kind of forgot about how when you want to go through, you have to go through that sort of some ceremony that we went through. And and it's just these things that resonated with me so much more like months later. So yeah, I did that. Like, this place is so special. And I didn't go in there. I went in the Ganges when we were like near Rishikesh. But it was, everybody I was with went in almost. almost everybody, but there was like a thick coating, okay, of like oil slick looking stuff, but people were going in, obviously. I put it on my head, I did that. And it's kind of like, in hindsight, I can't believe I didn't dive in.
You did. Charles just says if you sprinkle water on your head, it's as good as taking a bath. That's also.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But you know, I remember it turned Lori Pag, like all her jewelry just immediately turned black. But she brought it to her jeweler and it came back. But it was just all of these things were happening, and it was really okay. My son says I have to stop talking, but thank you.
Yeah, Tracy points out the picture on the back of the new Nectar of Instruction book is a picture of Radhakund. Yeah. Also, in the middle of the book, there's a series of illustrations. I think one or more are about Radhakund. Jai. All right. Well, we made it by the mercy of Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada.
And Shami Pras.
Hare Krishna. So please leave your comments in WhatsApp, anything you're taking away to work on or are working on that you got inspiration from Nectar of Instruction. Stay tuned. We'll take the next week off. If you want to be in,
I'll send an email.
Yeah, we'll send an email with the details of the new WhatsApp and the new book. We'd love to have you. Yeah, we take donations and they're also not necessary, as always. It's always been like that with these Shastra classes. We'd love to have every one of you and all of you invite your friends. And one other piece is that many people are interested or are becoming interested in taking the Bhakti Shastri, which is a systematic study of the Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Instruction. First half of Nectar of Devotion and Sri Upanishad. I'm in the process of getting authorized to teach it. I have taught it before, and I'm just getting recertified to teach it again. And what I plan to do is make it retroactively available, that if those people who have taken these courses with me want to be certified as Bhakti Shastri, you get time served. Like having attended for week after week, that counts to credit for the classes. Like Bhakti Shastri involves like certain evaluation. You have to take some tests. There's a handful of verses you have to memorize, so that's part of the mandated structure of it. But which you can't really wiggle out of as a teacher. You have to do that. But actually attending class, you've already kind of done that for the Nectar of Instruction. Many of you run our Bhagavad Gita classes, so if that's of interest to you, reach out to me or Kishori. We'll let you know. It's in work in progress, and that's a goal I have, to make that available for people, that you can say you've done the Bhakti Shastri. You've already done like a portion of it actually with these books.
The 4 books are Nectar of Instruction, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Upanishad, which is our next book, and then the Nectar of Devotion.
Yeah. Tanya asks, is that the Disciples course? No, it's not the Disciples course. Disciples course is a much shorter thing. I've also taught that. I'm teaching it right now as well to one person. And I'm available to teach it to others if they want to study that. That's specifically about what makes a disciple, what makes a guru. That's drawn from a variety of different books by Srila Prabhupada. It's the specific topic. It's a topical course, topic of discipleship for those who are aspiring to take initiation. That's also available.
The Bhakti Shastri, it's, basically you're doing that right now in what we're studying. But if you want to receive second initiation, so to be able to receive second initiation, then you have to take Bhakti Shastri and take those tests. So it's not, eminent for anyone right now, but it'll be really helpful to have these classes be retroactive and then be able to study further with Shami, to be able to answer the questions and go deeper and memorize verses and that kind of thing. So this will all be in support of that.
It can get you the piece of paper. So
technicalities,
Stay tuned.
Thank you, Shami Pras, for your devotion and your care and your gifts and your service and for your enthusiasm.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for all of you for your attentive ears and your feedback.
I think you should came to every class live.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You're all awesome. Thank you so much.
We're wearing the same color shirt.
Rupa Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sripati Shamrita ki jai, Burlington Bhakti Sangha and beyond ki jai.
Jai.
Gancha kalpa tarupyascha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And special love to our YouTube and online contingent. Haribol.
Haribol. Hare Krishna.
See you soon.
Mm.